Welcome to another episode of Live Well, where each time we talk about how we as humans can set up ourselves physically, financially, spiritually, and lifestyle-wise to have lives that are effective and of quality. Today, I am so privileged to have with me a professional and one of the lead coaches and consultants in the business professional field, Miss Dion Rashad, the CEO of KDML Solutions. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. Thank you so much for the invitation. I really do appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you. So give us a little bit of an idea of just who you are and what you do.
All right. Well, cool beans. So, of course, you said my name is Dion Rashad, and I am the CEO of KDMJ Solutions. And what we do there is provide contracting services to government as well as corporate entities, but we also provide professional coaching for those individuals that may need it, as well as customized training to get people going. So let me provide to you an example. For example, there was a person who was on my team, and she had just gotten with my team. And I asked that individual to go out and find the next job role that she wanted to take. A lot of leaders these days do not take someone's existing skills, identify what they want to do next, and be able to integrate that into their current role so that when they're ready to apply out for a different job or a higher paying job, now they're ready. Mm-hmm. If you are a leader who's taken that opportunity to grow that individual. Mm-hmm. So here at KDMJ Solutions, whenever we are coaching individuals, we strive to allow people to grow in the direction that they want to grow in, but also help them to gain the skills that are necessary.
That's wonderful. And what made you passionate about that? What made you want to go into that field?
Well, it's something that I've always done, whether I did it with the company that I was with, but, I decided to take a leap and to go ahead and start to do it completely on my own.
That's wonderful. Dion knows a little bit about me and my backstory, and I also, in the process of taking a leap. So I can definitely attest to that. What's something that, if you could say was your premier product or promotion or service, something that you really stand behind as your strength?
Outside of, working directly with government entities as well as corporate companies, I would have to say a very, very strong point of mine would be the professional coaching piece. A lot of people don't realize just how much a professional coach can really and truly help them along. Having someone to not only have the experience, but to be able to help you to grow and develop professionally. We don't see a lot of that in corporate offices. So I try to make sure that service is definitely available to whomever may need it.
That is so true. And kind of piggybacking off of that, the professional coaching as it relates to resumes, as it relates to showing up for interviews, as it relates for just your presentation when you're going into somewhere. Mm-hmm. Can you speak on how important that is to be prepared?
Oh my gosh, that's definitely very important. I'm actually getting ready to provide a class to people that are 50 plus going back into the workplace. And that's some of the things in which we actually cover how to write your resume, and what I found very valuable for those individuals was to perform mock interviews for them as well, practicing what your answer is going to be before you have to actually provide it live. One of the other things in which I offer to that group and to other folks is explaining your gap of employment. Now, we know that layoffs are happening these days pretty rampant, but being able to explain why I'm off, regardless of whatever the reason may be, being able to explain that to people is very important. I actually just finished an ebook that talks about...
Tell us more.
It talks about bridging the gap, and it provides people 101 different ways to explain why they were out of work and, placing a positive spin on, why they're wanting to return back to work.
Wow. And with this ebook coming out, I mean, when can we expect a drop on that?
The ebook will be dropping in the month of March.
Okay.
I will say that I do have a wait list at dionrashad.com. You can go in and look under products and just be able to get yourself added to the ebook. For anybody who's getting the ebook right now, if you're on the waiting list, you're going to get it at a discounted price opposed to anybody else.
Oh, that's wonderful. But we definitely got to get that information. And then how do you juggle just being a mom, being a wife, being an entrepreneur, starting a business, just all of these amazing things that you're doing, and so flawlessly, I may add. How do you just keep that all together? Is it your faith? Is it your family support?
It's a combination of all, but I definitely have to say my faith first. You know, just knowing who I am as a woman of God and being able to know how I balance everything to make sure, that I give my husband the right attention. I give the boys the right attention, and then everything else that happens in life. It's just a balance. So, I'm grateful for being able to have such a balance.
Amen. I love that. What is one thing that you aspire to accomplish in the next 1 to 3 years as a new venture for your business?
If I'm very transparent about it, I want to grow the business to a point to where I can actually hand it off to the boys.
I love that. I love legacy.
A legacy.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do with it.
I love that. I love that. If people are interested in contacting you directly, maybe they need some coaching themselves, or they, are getting ready to come back into the workforce, how can they find you? What is the best method of contact?
Oh, I'm everywhere. So I have my own site, which is dionrashad.com. All of my contact information's there. If you're looking on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, or even LinkedIn, I'm listed there as well. So I'm on all different types of platforms. And if you message me or call me or email me, I'm definitely going to get back in contact with you as quickly as possible.
Okay. Wonderful, wonderful. Well, everyone, if you are looking to reach out to Miss Dion, please take that contact information. Again, as one of the premier lifestyle life coaches and professionalism coaches of 2025, whether you are returning to the workforce, whether you are in the workforce, but you're looking for different types of employment, she can teach you and coach you and give you those skills you need to really upgrade your personal and professional portfolio. So thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you again.
Each year, companies waste an average of 72.5 days looking for items to support their traveling employees. This causes hundreds of thousands of dollars of time wasted to businesses that could have been more productive and profitable. In fact, 87% of corporate travelers complain of late or unattained items. Introducing Travel Pro. We provide high-value customized pre-packed bags of health and wellness-related essentials for companies who travel often, delivered directly for distribution. We have an estimated profit margin of 62% and a target market of $420 million nationally as our serviceable, obtainable markets. Coming soon, we have our own mobile app called Patho Spy, which helps to plan and manage upcoming trips. This travel tech offers innovative features such as currency conversion, budgeting, user-to-user communication, and upcoming virtual reality experience so that those who are logistically or financially challenged can experience other cultures as well.
Joining us now is Mr. DeJorian Moore, the president and COO of Verified Tax Solutions. When it comes to live well, one of the most important aspects is just that, live and well. And so a big part of that is our finances and how we are set up to structure ourselves to live well. So thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Mary. I'm excited to be here with you.
Absolutely. Give us a little bit of idea of who you are and what you do.
Well, I'm an entrepreneur at heart. This was one of the things that had been in something that I wanted to do for quite some time. It just always seemed like something that was attractive. I'm a numbers person, kind of a Virgo thing, if you will.
I'm a Virgo too.
Exactly. So got involved in this space about 12 years ago, and the company took on a life of its own. And even since then, because we were initially just tax prep, we've expanded to resolution and financial coaching, wealth management, just all things that have to do with taxes and finance. And so it's allowed us to be able to serve a great many people.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And tell us some of the things, some of the top issues that you see when you are assisting others that are filing their taxes. You always hear about some people that struggle or that maybe they file the incorrect form. What are some of the things you see and some of the advice that you can offer?
Well, I see a lot. We service about 1,000 people a year, but I tell you, it's very interesting to see that people just don't know. And I guess let me give you this example, like pulling out of your 401k. That's a retirement investment vehicle. And so it's not a right now situation. And I do not recommend people do that because that's a taxable event and most people don't know that. And so what happens is one would pull out of their 401k whatever amount of money. And then the next year they get what's called a 1099-R that has to be reported as income. So we're thinking, okay, I'm going to fix this problem that I'm having or whatever the case may be. Whatever reason you're pulling it out, depending on if there's an exception for that or not, you're going to trigger a taxable event, which means that they are looking at that as income. And that is anywhere, depending on what your age is, you're going to be looking at a 20% tax and a 10% penalty if you're under the age where that's, realistic to be okay to withdraw without that penalty. So a lot of implications. The tax, a lot of people want to do their own taxes. That's not something that I recommend at all. They offer, a lot of training in this space, whether you're going to get it from other CPAs, you're going to pursue a degree. If this is not something that one is well versed in, then I don't recommend they do their own at all. I've seen people leave so much money on the table, even as late as yesterday. One of the other accountants in my office was working with a client and was looking at some of the back taxes where they only got a $900 refund, and saw several opportunities in that space, in reviewing that file where they could get $5,000 or $6,000. And that's because they were doing it themselves. And so where they're looking at what the output may be, which is usually taken from the refund, depending on where you go, of what it would cost. What would somebody pay to get another, to have almost a $7,000 refund, because they did not know what they were doing. It costs people, exponentially, over time even. The other thing is under withholding, not paying in enough to the IRS.
Right.
That will get you in a lot of trouble, and a lot of people go exempt. Not a good thing unless you earn less than the standard deduction. That means they're not taking any taxes out of your paycheck. And so it leads you down a road of terrible financial destruction if you don't get that handled quickly, because here again, the IRS is expecting for those payments to be made on the income that you're earning. And if they're not taking it out, then you're going to have a big tax debt at the end of the year.
Wow. Yeah, that is so important for people to find an individual who can help them with that. Because like you said, I think the average person doesn't realize most of those points, and they end up finding themselves in some type of trouble or getting less than they could have, gotten back on the return. That is so interesting. How does tax relate, in your opinion, to just the overall concept of financial literacy, credit, and how people approach their finances in general?
It's one of the number one things. As long as we are going to be paying taxes in this country, it's probably one of the most important financial spaces that you should be paying attention to, because it's affecting everything that you do. How you earn money is everything. There's investment income, which is taxed at a certain rate. There is, if you own your own business, and the way your business is structured determines how much you're going to pay. If you are in real estate, there are certain things that we do in real estate that we are earning a tremendous amount of money, but paying $0 in taxes. And so I would put it at the forefront of responsibility, as far as, paying attention to what's going on in that space to make sure that you're not overpaying. And people don't understand it's illegal to evade taxes, but it's not illegal to avoid taxation or to avoid paying taxes. And there are certain tools that are in the code that allow us to be able to do that.
What's the difference?
Well, tax evasion would be like, okay, you have these people that are called protesters. They don't think it's constitutional and la-di-da, the things that go with that. But, whether you think it's constitutional or not, it's law. And so until it's changed or eradicated or done away with, we got to do what we have to do. And so that's why I say going to a professional is the best thing to do.
Wow.
Did I answer your question?
Yes, I believe so. I just was going to piggyback or going to ask also on just some of the other implications of how people approach finances in general and how it relates to credit score, and then other ways that they can set up their retirement. So you mentioned 401k. I don't know if you mentioned Roth IRA, UILs, but there's so many other ways that people can be setting themselves up that they're not aware of.
Absolutely. If one is the type of individual where they are, venturing into their 401k, that's definitely not the investment vehicle that you want to use to get you out of an emergency or put a little bit of extra cash or padding in your checking account. I would use an IUL, Index Universal Life Insurance policy. After a certain period of time that you've had it, you can start pulling money from that, and that does not trigger a taxable event. And so it's literally a loan against the policy. And if you decide you're going to pay it back, great. If not, then that's something you have to deal with, but that's okay too. There are a lot of different ways that people can prepare as far as for retirement and related to tax. If you have an effective tax plan by itself, it can make you just fabulously wealthy if you know what to do.
Really?
But yeah, and I see so many people, they just, even as much as seeing people earn six figures go exempt, and then they have a $30,000 or $40,000 liability. Also, another thing that can impact it is, we call it the healthcare marketplace, where people are getting, or Obamacare is what people lovingly call it, the Affordable Care Act. When people go in and get those policies, there are certain things that you're responsible for, like if you have an increase in income or family size, or you move to a different area, those things are taken into consideration when they're giving you a rate. And I'll give you an example of how that's affected somebody in a negative way. It's good to have insurance, but it's bad to have insurance. It's going to make you pay a whole lot of money. And so we had a gentleman one year, he was a six-figure earner and lost his job and was on went through the Affordable Care Act or the healthcare marketplace to be able to get his insurance. When he found a new job, he did not update, the government or the marketplace that, hey, I've got gainful employment again, really around the same level or better than what I had. So when it came tax time, he had a $30,000 liability. Because of the size of his family and such. Oh, yeah. So I would suggest that, when people are looking or interested in wanting to make a move financially and you don't know if there are any tax implications, call your preparer, call your accountant, call whoever that person is that handles or helps you with your finances, because there's a lot of things that we can steer you away from that could be, result in financial challenges. Okay. Everybody should have a tax plan. And a tax plan is not something that necessarily just happens, that you have to do it every year. It kind of depends on what space you're in. But typically people who are in that space, who are getting a tax plan, you could take that plan and execute that forever, which means, these are things that will take money, off the table as far as giving it to the IRS, reducing what you have to pay, which is avoidance, not evasion. Right. That goes back to that point that we were talking about.
Exactly. Wow. And where can people find you? Because I feel like we could just talk about this all day. Obviously, very knowledgeable.
Thank you.
But where can people find you if they themselves, it's tax season, so get your taxes done.
Yeah, definitely.
By this guy. But yes, what's the best information to contact you in your office and kind of your schedule?
Well, we're at 4101 McEwen Road, and that's Dallas, Texas, 75244, Suite 675. So it's on the sixth floor. A lot of people ask, what floor is it on? It's the sixth floor. But also I'm on Instagram under DeJorian. You can't miss it. DEJORIAN. Connect with me through that, or even Facebook is okay. I don't check it very often, and I don't answer the phone very much during tax season at all. It's best to text. So my information is posted all over the place there.
Okay. All right. Perfect.
VerifiedTaxServices.com is cool too.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And I look forward to, getting my own taxes done with you, because I'm not going anywhere else. I'm using the expert here.
Happy to help. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
You too.
Have a great day. Up next, we have a real treat, another fellow colleague in the healthcare field as myself. We have Dr. Marlyn Panchoo Brookins, founder and chief consultant at Insightful Intellect. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Oh, thank you so much, Mary. It's an honor to be here.
Yes, thank you. Tell us a little bit about just what you do over at Insightful Intellect and what interested you into going into the healthcare field.
Yes, so I've always loved science. I'll just start with that. So my background is in biochemistry and cancer biology. I did that. I worked as an educator. And then I moved into clinical research. And then I lost a friend to breast cancer. And I began thinking, we're in clinical research, we're getting all that new drugs, all that new medical advancement, and people are dying. And I'm like, why? It's taken 10 to 15 years to get a drug to market. Yeah. And I'm like, there needs to be some urgency. What's the holdup? It's enrollment. And really, that's how I came up with Insightful Intellect and decided to focus on accelerating diverse enrollment, making sure that treatments reflect the population that is going to use it, as well as raising awareness for clinical trials and the benefits that it provides to everyday people. And that's what we do at Insightful Intellect. We promote diverse enrollment by engaging underserved communities through community engagement. So clinical trial is a resource. Clinical research is a resource. I like to say wherever the food bank is, we can be there.
Wow.
Right, yes, that's how I see it. And so that's what we specialize in. That's how we improve enrollment. And really by just getting clinical trials out there, getting clinical research out there, and connecting with community leaders. Yeah.
That's wonderful. I love that. I could go on and on about that. Yeah. So you may or may not know, but I myself am titled as a clinical research associate, and we work really closely in that same realm as it opposes to enrollment. And then once the trials are fully enrolled, that's kind of where I would come in as far as the auditing of those studies. Can you tell us a little bit about, historically speaking, clinical trials and clinical research has not always been looked at favorably as to some of those maybe minority communities. What comes to mind is the Tuskegee experiments, the Nuremberg trials in Germany, and most recently we're coming out of the pandemic. So can you just speak to maybe some of the opinions of the people who may have fears and how you address those?
Yes. History, we have to pay attention to history. So the first thing I always say is acknowledgement. So I acknowledge that, yes, they did things to us and to people that were not right, that were not ethical. And I reiterate all the rules, the IRB, the Belmont Report, all the GCP, things that are established, right? So that we don't repeat that again. And then I come down to, literally, you use the Tylenol, right? If you have a headache, Tylenol, Advil, ibuprofen, we'll take it, right? So, and then
without a second thought.
Without a second thought.
2 or 3 or 4.
But they didn't test it on you. So maybe that's why it's not working as good on you, right? So all of our fears of not being part of the innovation or being in the early parts of it, right? We still at the end still use the medicine, and then we figure out it doesn't work, right? And so that's really how I frame it to people, because yeah, they do stuff, but we still use the medicine. We still go to doctors and try to get all of the medicine, and then it's like, it's not working for me. It's not working in me because it wasn't tested in you. It wasn't made for you. So we have this opportunity now to be at the front end, to have things tested on our genetics, on our makeup, so that when the drugs come out, it'll work for us. It'll be beneficial to us because guess what? We're still going to take it. We're still going to take it. It's not like you're like, oh yeah, don't give me the insulin. I'm fine. I didn't do that. I don't know where you guys got that. We'll still use it. Right. So that's how I tackle that.
That's good. So with that, are you saying that they would be customized to whoever's using it based on gender, ethnicity, age, things like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's that.
And that's very important.
That's very important because if you look at the data, for example, I think Plavix was one of those that was tested, right, in the majority, Caucasian. And then it's not working in people, like.
So that would be like the pharmacokinetics versus the pharmacodynamics, how the drug is working in the body versus how the body's effect is with the drug.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
It's we have a chance to make sure that it works for us, and our chance requires us to be there because they can't test it in us. We can't know how it's going to work. We can't make changes if we're not there.
Absolutely. Where do you think that the industry of clinical research as a whole is trending towards in the next 10 years?
In terms of diversity and inclusion and stuff, or just general?
In general, but also in terms of DEI.
Yeah. And to be honest, I went to a conference last week, and, the people there, it's like, this is going to happen. It's good science. Mm-hmm. There's yes, we can use all the words, DEI, whatever, but it's just good science. You don't want to be sued 10 years down the line because
there was no diversity in your research.
Right. Or you marketed it as everybody can use it. And then I picked it up, used it, and I fell sick. And then
it's
someone
just good data.
Right. It's good data. And then look, you marketed it for everyone, but you didn't test it for everyone. So you were lying to me when you told me it's going to work in me. Right. You get sued for that. Might not be today, 10 years down the line. So I say all of this to say that it's not going anywhere when it comes to diversity because it's good science and it's good business. There's trillions of dollars. Yeah, it's good science. It's good business. It's not going anywhere. The name might change. We might use different words, but I don't see it going anywhere. And my passion is to let clinical trials be known to everyone. Right. I want people to think about it like when they're going to the gym, like when you're like, oh, I feel like I'm putting on some weight, and people offering solutions. How about you drink this? And how about you go to the gym? I want people to be like, oh, you know what? There's a clinical trial that you can do, or they're giving you free, diabetic medicine. Like I want it to be that widespread. I want it to be that open where it's not anything so secretive or so, just go hang out, see what they got to offer. So that's where I see it going because I'm going to work until everybody knows about this and can at least ask a question.
Right.
And say the word.
I love that. And I feel the same way. I feel like we are in such a niche and such a nuanced environment, even within the healthcare realm. A lot of times people don't know what it is we're doing. And I'll talk to people that work in healthcare and they don't have a clear indication sometimes.
Exactly.
So I agree with you 100% there that there really needs to be a lot more education and a lot more marketing with the clinical research and it not be such a taboo type, field. Oh my gosh, I love that. I could ask you so many questions. In the interest of time, if someone is interested in reaching out to you, they want to know more about your company, or maybe they want to just help push the word out. I have seen some information about if you collaborate with other industries or other companies, how can they find you? They need to find you. How can people find you?
Yes, people can find me on LinkedIn. That's one place. So Insightful Intellect, and I have my personal page, Marlyn Panchoo Brookins. Insightfulintellect.com. Those are the places that you can find me. Send me an email, info@insightfulintellect.com. But you just Google my name. It's that easy, or Insightful Intellect. .com. I have a website. Those are the main ways that you can find me. Send me a DM on LinkedIn. That's where I'm at most of the time. One social media platform right now, LinkedIn.
Hey, if it's not broke, don't fix it. If it's working for you, girl.
Get that.
Everyone, please join, take a look at Insightful Intellect and get some information about clinical trials, about research, just even for your own education so that you are being informed. Reach out to Ms. Brookins and she can direct you to a clinical study if you are interested in participating or if you know someone who might be. So thank you so much for joining us today, and I look forward to collaborating with you in the future.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mary. This was wonderful.
Thank you.